table hosts will keep our discussions on track and report on highlights back to the group. Each host will ask a volunteer to take notes on the table's discussions or will do so themselves. Following your discussion, table hosts will report on key points you raised. The reports will be captured on the flip charts at each side of the room. Choice ideas will be preserved in our conference proceedings that all attendees will receive and share with their colleagues. We'll also be looking for your predictions for the coming year. Your host will ask you to write down something good, something bad, and something truly unexpected for 2012. Throughout the day, we hope you'll feel free to ask questions as they occur to you. Don't be shy. You'll find questions cards in your handouts if you'd rather write them out. Give your card to a staff person who will pass it to the moderator. The point is, this is your conference, so plan to be active. We'd like to thank Ellen, I hope I don't screw this up, Millicone, President of NYIA, plus...
You screwed it up.
I did? Well, my apologies.
That's how it works.
Alan Flafka will tell you how to do it.
All right, President of NYIA, plus Cassandra Anderson and Mark Crow of NYIA for all their help in planning today's program. Richard, it's a great partnership for our two associations.
Thank you. These two brothers got about the toughest handshakes I ever seen. I'm going to want to play golf after I get done with these two guys. Rich, thank you. It's certainly a pleasure again this year to partner with PIA of New York. I would say I've been at this, I see it's 11 years now. I've probably been at 8 or 9 of them, and everybody knows I got a little disenchanted a year or so ago and started complaining because there wasn't enough CEOs here. Well, I guess God sent me my wish because you've got a lot of CEOs here today, so it should be a good interactive day. We've got some great people here. As I look around at the tables, I know we'll get some lively questions. The two panels, we had an opportunity with both panels to talk about the information a bit before, a week or so ago. And the only thing I would tell you is it seems that every time we get at one of these things, the slant tends to go toward the IT side of it. And I would guess we're going to head in that direction today, especially with things like mobile technology, real-time, and all of the above. So listen, enjoy it, and that's what we're up here for today as our panel time comes. And I guess the one thing I would say, and I'm sure nobody will be here, don't be shy. We've got 3.5 hours, 4 hours here, and if there's something that's bothering you that you want to ask a company and or any of the panelists, let it out or put it on a card. So it should be a good discussion, and thank you. Now I can sit down.
Now you can sit for a couple minutes. Our members will likewise benefit from the focus on partnership with our carriers in a rapidly changing market. I want to thank PIA's Business Issue Committee for hosting and helping plan the content for today's event. I'd also like to draw your attention to the slideshow that's been silent. It's supposed to be silent playing, Jim. Okay. Well, the slideshow that has not been running and the related materials in your handouts regarding PIA's 2011 STAR Survey. It's part of PIA's ongoing research on agent-company partnerships. The exclusive focus of this year's survey is technology that agents use to book and service their business, including transactions with their carriers and agents' management systems and data aggregation products. We studied each type of technology and how well it meets agents' business needs. We'll hope you see the value of this study, which includes results from nearly 700 agents. I'll call on PIA's Business Issue Director, Jim Pitts, in just a moment to quickly hit on some of the highlights of the survey. Feel free to bring questions or comments on the findings into today's discussions at any point that you find them relevant. Today our program has 3 main parts. Our overall theme will be company-agency partnerships and how to plan for success. First, I'll be moderating panel 1, which is titled Keep and Expand Your Business, What You Must Have from Your Partners Today. We'll see how company and agency CEOs answer these questions. Our third program segment will be Richard's panel, titled Trends in a Changing Market, Who Will Prosper and Why. Our goal is for everyone to leave with ideas to help their organizations prosper next year and beyond. Both panels will turn to you to take part in roundtable discussions. Each table can react to what is said from panel number one. Then you'll have an additional set of 3 additional questions to discuss. Following the discussion, table hosts will report on your key ideas and any topics or trends you hope panel number 2 will cover. Also, at some point, fill in your 2012 prediction card and give it into your table hosts. We'll hear what people forecast as the afternoon concludes. Now please direct your attention to hear about the top business-related finding from PIA's STAR survey and how we think they pertain to today's program. Jim? So, with us today, we have Elizabeth Heck, President and COO of Greater New York Insurance Company. Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you to jump in.
Okay.
Let's start this way.
Okay. I'm going to tell you about my company. We are a 97-year-old commercial lines writer. We target middle market commercial accounts, mainly commercial real estate. We write a lot of habitational business as well as office buildings, strip shopping centers. We had been asked to talk a little bit about the marketplace and what we see before we go into the topic, and what we see is the market turning somewhat, and I'm hopeful that you all feel the same way. But we started to see some changes downstate New York, beginning in the second quarter, with an increase in the number of submissions and the quality of the submissions that we've been getting in, and then following the storms in the third quarter, Hurricane Irene, we started to really see some changes. We see, with regard to our competitors, we see increasing rates. We see our competition pulling back, especially with regard to coastal exposures and any kind of property cat exposures. And we also see there were some carriers that really replaced some of the risk-by-risk underwriting with a lot of predictive modeling, some of that technology that we talked about a year or two ago. And we see that also tightening up a little bit. With regard to the topic, with what we need from our partners, we obviously value our relationships with our independent agents. We think it's the most efficient way to market our products and to sell our products. And one of the things that we think is most important, with our producers, the ones that are the most successful with us are the ones where we have the best open lines of communication, where it goes two-way. We want producers that understand the value of underwriting. I mean, we really believe in underwriting risk by risk, and we want our producers to participate in the process and give us enough information so that we can make an informed, intelligent decision about, risk selection and pricing. And what we also like is to have an open dialogue, so we know what you need to sell our account. And with regard to pricing, specialized coverages, if there's competition. And we find that those producers that work with us in that way, it's a dynamite combination, and we do very well. It's very successful. The other thing that we like from our partners, the agents that we really consider to be our true partners, is, we want not just to be sold based on price. So we want our partners to really understand the value of our franchise, there are a lot of products out there, and to be able to communicate to the potential insured, what we have to offer, because we work very hard on differentiating ourselves, with regard to our competition, and we want producers who buy into that and, are happy to go out and sell. With regard to wants, so those first two, I guess I would consider to be must-haves in the relationship. And with regard to wants, we want from our agents, obviously, we would like to be, the top 3 in their agency. That so we're thought of as one of the top 3 with regard to the classes that we write. And we would like, what's really nice to have an agency partnership that where the customers are mutual, so the same classes of business that are expanding that would fit well with our company.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We have Mark Pertel, who's Executive Vice President, CEO of how do you say that? Chautauqua. Patriots Insurance Company.
Thank you, Rich. As Rich mentioned, I'm Mark Pertel, Chautauqua Patriots Insurance Company. We're a small, accessible cooperative located in Jamestown, New York, southwest corner of the state. And we write roughly $8.5 million in business. About 60% of that is personal lines, mainly homeowners and a premier homeowner product that we have. The other 40% commercial, mainly BOP, some small S&P type business. Under a BOP, we do write restaurants. A lot of similarities overall with Greater New York, some of the things that we run into, but obviously much smaller. We write basically business in the western half of the state. We have 200 agents, roughly, obviously independent agents. And I think really about the company, that's about it. We have 15 employees, of which roughly half of them have agency experience, which I find has been a key factor to the relationship that we have with our agents. And of the 7 or 8 employees that have agency experience, that experience averages about 10 years. So they know what the agents have gone through, they've experienced that. And I think whenever we analyze possibly a new product or the way we do business, we kind of look at it that way as to, how would an agent analyze it and try to do things successfully. So, strong management team with an agency background. I think that helps really with the perspective that we have in looking at agency relationships. And if you look at our mission statement for the company, basically we're there to provide exceptional service, products, and pricing to our agents and our insureds. And we specifically noted that we want to target the agents first because they're our primary consumer. So I think that kind of follows the fact that as a company we do look at the agency side first. And another factor that we've kind of brought into our company model is we do have an agency partner code, of which we have 10 objectives that we hope our agents can basically work with us on to achieve success, but definitely something that we're keeping the agents in mind when we've come up with those objectives. And looking at the questions of the must-haves, and some of the literature I've been reading recently, and I found something, basically duties of producers to carriers. And sometimes I think there's a little bit of an adversarial situation between agents and companies. We hate to have it that way, but in bringing up these duties, the first would be to identify risk. The second is to follow instructions. Third is loyalty and accounting. And the fourth is to transmit proper information. And I approached my management team just prior to this panel discussion to ask them what must-haves they felt they needed from our agency force. And in looking at that, I could find direct relationships between what they were saying and these 4 items. The thing I think we have to really put into perspective is, I think on a company side, you identify the negatives quite quickly, but you kind of forget the positives. And we have a lot of positives in regards to the agents that we do business with. But I guess in looking at some of the negatives, for example, in identifying risk, we find that a lot of the applications aren't complete. I don't know if any other CEOs or company people find that. I don't know if any of the agents ever find that they get applications returned, but that's one of the things. relatively rare for us, but that is a must-have or something that it may actually qualify for a want. But that's one of the areas that we see. Following instructions, obviously I think it's important for the company to be able to explain to the agents what they're looking for, whether it's manuals, information on websites, that type thing. So I think there's a variable that would impact both the companies and the agents, and the fact that I believe it is the obligation of the company to explain to the agents information that's necessary and instructions on how to get that information to us. Obviously, loyalty and accounting, I think that goes without saying. And I think that's something that our agents currently do very well, and I think all companies certainly need that. And transmitting information, again, an area our agents do a good job. I think most agents do a good job with companies, but there's vital importance with that, especially with transmitting claim and endorsement information. When I looked at these must-haves, I also noticed how they really are interactive with technology. And if you look at each one of these, technology impacts every one. I don't want to get into details on that at this point. I think we're going to talk about the technology a little further on. But I think overall, technology certainly is going to influence each of these four quite heavily. I guess in closing, ultimately, I think agents are really looking for companies that are forward-thinking, that's both technologically and in ease of business, which transacts into certainly technology. But I think they're also looking for solutions. I think agents are needing solutions based on the soft market that we've had for numerous years. It's very difficult to grow premiums. It's kind of difficult to retain business. So I think the companies really are challenged with finding solutions to that and helping agents out. And along with that, I think service is very important. So I think that's it, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.